Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. I hope all is well. Many of us have heard about the the story or what has recently been announced by this football player, Chris Johnson, who was a great football player in his prime. He who was a great football player. I believe in one season, I believe it was the 2008 season or 9 season. He ran for 2,000 yards, which was a record. I think he and only six other running backs has done that um, eh, of all time in the entire league. But he recently announced that he has ALS, and this kind of hits home for me because my uncle had ALS for about 7 years, and he passed away in 2005. So this kind of hits home. He passed away from ALS, but this is uh, something that doesn't have a cure right now. This is a disease in which no one knows how someone can get it. Like there is no cause for it or anything. But it's a disease. It's a strong disease. It attacks your body. I want us to just watch the interview that he did with Michael Strahan on Good Morning America. Um, let's get into that.
We're back now with our GMA cover story by exclusive interview with former NFL star Chris Johnson. The three-time Pro Bowler had more than 11,000 yards, 11,000 total offensive yards in his career, and still holds the record for the most yards from scrimmage in a season. But now he's in a fight for his life off the field. Johnson, touchdown! Chris Johnson, one of the fastest running backs in NFL history, shattered records throughout his career. 80-yard run. So fast, he earned the nickname CJ2K. Chris Johnson is going to have a Titans touchdown. He retired in 2017 and has been out of the spotlight. But today, he is sharing something deeply personal. You've chosen to share some personal news today, and it takes a tremendous amount of courage to share it. What would you like for people to know?
First, I want people to know that I'm still me. ALS has changed what my body can do, but it hasn't changed who I am.
In 2025, at the age of 39, Johnson was diagnosed with ALS. The disease progressing so rapidly that he now uses his eyes to trigger a speech-generating device to speak. Why do you want to share this now?
Because if sharing my story helps even one person get diagnosed sooner, inspires more research, or gives another family hope, then it's worth it.
Johnson says he was in the prime of his life, working out daily and running errands with his 4 children until ALS changed everything. Let's go back to last year. When did you notice that something was off?
I first noticed weakness in my right hand. At first, it was little things like my grip didn't feel right, and I wasn't as strong as I've always been.
His wife, Brittany, thought it was something much simpler. Brittany, what did you think it was at the time?
I thought because of football and, his career that it had to be something with that, maybe the pinched nerve or something along those lines, but never ALS.
And what did doctors tell you initially about your condition?
We hoped it was something else, but after thorough testing, they finally came down with a diagnosis of ALS. They told us about a medication that might extend life by a few months. Then they told us to get our affairs in order. It was hard hearing that, but after watching Good Morning America and seeing Dr. Merritt with Eric Dane, we reached out to her. She was willing to think more creatively, offering experimental treatments that might help and advance research.
Dr. Merritt Sikovich is a
I'm sorry. Um, ALS. It can ALS. Like I said before, this a disease that attacks your nervous system. It attacks your muscles. It attacks um, your cells, your nerve cells, um, and it's also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. Who uh, Lou Gehrig? Lou Gehrig was a famous baseball player who had ALS, but no one knew what it was at the time. But he retired at age 31 because he retired in 2017. So he retired at a pretty young age, but I think 31 is around the age that NFL players retire. But um, and just think from 31 to 40, or excuse me, from 31 to 39, he was at peace. He was living his, he didn't have to play football anymore. He made enough money to support him and his family for the rest of his life. Um, but this is a sad situation because one minute, you think everything is good, and then the next minute this happens.
Neurologist and leading ALS researcher at Mass General Brigham Neuroscience Institute.
Chris has been on standard of care, which is about 3 different medications that slow down the illness, but he was also part of a clinical trial, a therapy that decreases inflammation, and I think that helped him a lot.
With no family history of ALS, doctors believe his is a case of sporadic ALS, the most common form of the disease, affecting about 90% of patients, occurring randomly in people with no known family history of ALS.
That's one of the reasons this disease can be so shocking. It can happen to someone who never expected it.
And for me, it's shocking. It's hard to process it for me because I know you, Chris, from just the incredible athlete that you are. How do you process it?
Honestly, I don't know if you ever fully process it. At first, you're in shock. Then you realize you have 2 choices. You can give up or you can fight. I chose to fight.
And then, Brittany, what was it like for you when you found out that Chris had ALS?
All I could think about was our kids and how young they are. Just, you're in denial. You want it to be anything else. You want the doctors to be wrong. The life that we previously had is like now a thing of the past, but we're still hopeful. We're hopeful, that a breakthrough will happen and that, or, God, a miracle will happen.
And what kind of support has helped you the most through this?
Without a doubt, my wife, Brittany, she hasn't left my side through any of this. My kids are also a huge part of why I keep going. Every day I wake up wanting more time with them to make more memories and just be their dad. They give me a reason to keep fighting.
Love it. I know, Brittany, the unsung heroes are the caregivers. So what has this been like for you?
Oh, it's tough. It's tough. Like, we have good days, we have bad days, Our life has shifted so much and it's a heavy workload, but I have no doubt that this is what, I was called to do.
So how has it progressed since you've been diagnosed?
And let me just say something to the caregivers, to those who are caring for people, for that person in your family with any sickness or disease. My mother, she was a caregiver for my uncle. He was living with us, and she took care of him. And I saw it was a lot of work, but my mom loved her brother, and she wanted the best for him. He was living down south, and he moved to um to my mother's house because he wanted my mother to take care of him, and my mother wanted to take care of him, um and to be his caregiver. Yes, there was nurses in and out of the house, but and my mom took care of the schedule and all that. And when the nurses weren't there, my my mother took care of him. It was a lot on her, but you know, by the strength of God, um, she found the strength to take care of him, and you know, and I know there were times in which my uncle felt bad about it, but I would hear the conversations, and my my uncle would say he would speak from the same device that we see Chris Johnson is using. But and he felt bad, but my mother said, "Hey, you you're here for a reason. I'm here to help you." And not saying that every day was easy. It was it was easy for her, but through the strength of God, she was able to to take care of him until he she couldn't anymore to do due to his passing. But um it's tough, man. It's tough, and this hits home. My uncle was a strong, healthy man. A lot of energy. When I saw him, before he was diagnosed with ALS, he was a strong, healthy man. He was a doctor. He loved to read. I remember. Let me just. I'm sorry.
It's continued to progress much faster than I ever imagined. I want people to understand just how quickly ALS can attack your body. Just over a year ago, I was picking up my 7-year-old daughter so she make a wish with her birthday cake. Today, I couldn't do that.
And what do you hope people or you wish people understood about living with ALS?
That your mind stays sharp. People sometimes look at the physical disability and assume you're not still the same person inside. I still think the same. I still dream. I still love my family. My body just doesn't cooperate.
What are the doctors telling you about the treatment and progression?
Having doctors who are willing to collaborate and explore every reasonable option has meant a lot to my family and me. Right now, there isn't a cure, but we're seeing more research, more clinical trials, and more promising ideas than ever before. Seeing how hard these doctors and researchers are working gives me hope. As long as they're fighting for people with ALS, I'm going to keep fighting too.
Hell yeah, and I want to thank Chris and Brittany for inviting me to the home with their family for that interview. And soon after Chris was diagnosed, they recorded his voice, which is why the speech generating machine sounds exactly like him. And Chris also told me awareness is great, but it's not enough. ALS needs funding. He was diagnosed relatively early and is doing everything he can, but still can't even hold a cup. That's why early detection, more research, and better treatments are so important. But he said if you're newly diagnosed, don't lose hope. Research is moving faster than ever.
What an incredible spirit.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, but it was definitely, like I said, hard for me to process watching this guy who I've admired for a long time, the incredible record-holding NFL running back.
But he still has that grit, doesn't he?
And his mind is still sharp.
Yeah.
Mind is still sharp.
And still admire. You said you admired him still. I mean, his admiration right now is off the charts for what he's doing.
Yeah.
That was a great interview.
It really was.
Thank you, guys. All right, let's go to Leslie.
Let's go to James 4:13. Look here. You who say today or tomorrow we are going to a certain town and will stay there a year. We will do business there and make a profit. How do you know what your life will be like tomorrow? Your life is like the morning fog. It's here for a little while and then it's gone. What you ought to say is, if the Lord wants us to, we will live and do this or that. Otherwise, you are boasting about your own pretentious plans. Pretentious plans, and all such boasting is evil. Remember, it is sin to know what you ought to do and then not to do it. So I've been saying this a lot ever since COVID. God willing, I want to do this, God willing, if the Lord allows, if God allows it. because like we said, we don't know what tomorrow can bring. You know, they told Chris Johnson to get his affairs in order. And that's scary to hear. That can be very scary to hear. But again, we don't know what tomorrow will bring. Don't take the day for granted. Love everyone, show love to everyone, don't hate, and we just don't know what tomorrow will bring. We just don't know. But let's pray for Chris and his family and his friends and everyone out there who's suffering from this disease or who has this disease, and those who are suffering or has any other illness that they are fighting. Amen. God bless you all. Be safe.